Hey, how you doing? It's Mike over here. Okay, I'm just doing this video as a favour for one of my American drummer friends. We all know him as Frog. How you doing, Sir Frog? Okay, now, from what I understand, Bud, you've got a Roland Octopad, and I think you've got the SPD-11. I happen to have the SPD-20. Fairly similar in certain respects. There's a few little differences as you're sort of starting to discover. Alright, loads of fun that you can have with this sort of thing. And what I'm going to sort of show you is how I have a compact electronics sort of set. I think a lot of my friends have asked me, well, why the hell don't you sort of gig with this one? It makes things a little easier to set up. Yeah, true. But, but this is really good for when you got like those really sort of, little tight corners when it comes to gigs. Alright, so you got the SPD-20, or in your case the SPD-11. I'm just wondering if you happen to have one of these type of stands over here, which is a particular stand that Roland will sell for, say, some of their Octopads. The most important thing is you have a little bracket claw like that, and at the bottom of your Octopad you'd have one of these things, okay, which is just like a little bracket. This one has been sort of like, screwed in, like with Phillips head sort of screws, but with one of my other Octopads, they've also got Allen key type of bolts. Use my little Allen key. Never leave home without it. Okay, so the most important thing, apart from having, say, some bits of hardware that will help you, is what you need to have, or where you have to actually sort of connect all your leads. Now, we can see here, we have 4 port holes. I don't know if I've got it up to the camera properly or not. We've got 4 port holes, which are for, they've got 1, 2, 3 over here for trigger inputs, and there's a 4th one here for your hi-hat / trigger number 4, which allows you to have the option of either having the hi-hat pedal. I presume you've got one of these, which is a Roland FD, I think it's called FD? Yep, FD8 hi-hat pedal. That's what will work best with one of these Octopads. Now, there is also a little switch that's on here. I'm sure that you might have already sort of discovered it. I'm presuming that you've got either a Roland KD8 pad, a bass drum pad. It might be, I'm not 100% sure, it might be a little different than this one. This is the KD85. Now, I also happen to use, as you would have noticed in some of the videos or some of the photos that I've done, now I've got, where is it? One of these guys fixed in position as a bass drum pad. This is the PDX8 dual trigger snare pad. But what I quite often do with my percussion, my electronic percussion setup, is I have this. Let's find one over here. Fixed onto a Gibraltar cowbell bracket. This is like one of those sort of foot cowbell sort of brackets. And what you do is you basically fit that onto there. The easiest thing to do is to firstly get the little L arm, fix it in like so. Got it sitting nice and vertical like that. When I've got 2 of these sitting side by side, that's when I'll angle them a bit, so that it allows the 2 of these pads to sit side by side, and that means I can bring my pedals in right next to each other. In the case with a single kick, put it in like that. Then you fix it into the bracket here. I thoroughly recommend these Gibraltar clamps. I do have an LP one, That's really nice and secure, but for convenience and the fact that I could store more of these in a pedal bag together with my pedals means it wins over for me every time. So I'll show you this kit with either this pad here, the KD85, or this one with the PDX8. Alright, so now one of the little tricks when you've got the bigger Roland kick pad, incidentally, if you're sort of having to get these in Australia, be prepared to pay a little bit more. Unfortunately, amigos, we seem to pay quite a bit for everything over here. I'm very lucky that I do have a few drum shops that look after me, but I always sort of feel sorry for any of people that might be, say, starting out, especially when it comes to electronic gear. Okay, so I've got the conventional Roland stand. I might sort of maybe just bring this camera a little bit this way so you can see what's going on. Okay, so I have the Roland stand over here, and you can see that I've put the leg of the tripod is just a little bit underneath this bar here, making sure that they don't touch up against each other, because if you do, you'll have a little bit of false triggering. Now, another little bit of hardware that will be very, very handy for these setups, and I've sort of just started experimenting with this of late. I've got, as you can see here, I've got a Dixon boom arm stand. I put the boom arm out a little bit here, and I've fixed on a Gibraltar clamp that has this little L rod over here. I used to do this with a Tama clamp. It was like a large Tama clamp with a rotating sort of part over here and a little L arm that sort of stuck out like that. Still worked the same way. Now, off this, I'll just carefully put this camera back over here. Okay. Right, it's all done with my Samsung Galaxy phone. So I've got this here, and there's a couple other little things I might sort of point out. You could use the pad, the aux pad itself, and maybe assign a hi-hat to any one of these surfaces here, so long as you've got the pedal that's here. Okay, otherwise you're just going to have a fixed hi-hat sort of sound. But when putting in my leads here, obviously I put my foot pedal into that one, the hi-hat trigger control number 4. Make sure the switch is switched over to the hi-hat control. Some people will put it on, leave it on the trigger forward, and then wondering why they can't open and close that hi-hat. You need that, buddy. But usually, trigger number 3 input, I'll put my lead in for my hi-hat. Now,